Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel, and I've got some excellent news for you, my fellow XRP holders. We have now received support pushing back against the SEC from the United States Chamber of Commerce. Now, to be clear, I'm not talking about the Chamber of Digital Commerce, which is crypto and blockchain focused. I'm talking about the United States Chamber of Commerce, which just so happens to be the world's largest business organization, been around for over 100 years, and they are punching back against the SEC. You love to see it, because look, we all know that we're on the right side of history. We all know that Kim Jong-un, supreme leader and dictator over at the SEC, and all of his hellspawns over there, they're on the wrong side of history, and as time passes, that will be proven. We know the gist of what's going to be written in the history books when this is all said and done, but this just adds that much more confidence because, yeah, look, you do have currently an administration in the United States from the top, from the White House on down, pushing back, battling cryptocurrency, but that's a losing battle. The genie's out of the bottle. It's never going to work, and I could not be more optimistic that even though we have to go through a lot more fighting, just as crypto investors and entrepreneurs in space in general, what should be done shall be done. And I'm going to share with you all the specifics here. We've got a comment from attorney John Deaton. I've got a really interesting and thoughtful breakdown from attorney James Murphy, who comments on all sorts of crypto stuff. He's known as Meta Lawman on Twitter. And in fact, what he was sharing was retweeted by a sitting congressman completely agreeing. So these people are going to lose, and these people will not always be in power. Don't forget that Kim Jong-un is an unelected bureaucrat. He will not be the SEC chair forever. He's going to be outski. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Just a minor bit of table setting because I need to make sure that you know where this all stemmed from, but then we'll get right into the brand spanking new news here. So here is a piece from April 24th. This happens to be from CNBC, but I covered it at the time. Everybody in mainstream media and crypto media talked about it at the time. The headline is Coinbase sues SEC after months of silence from federal regulator. And I love seeing an aggressive posture because frequently what happens, almost always what happens, is participants in the world of crypto take a defensive stance, but here you have Coinbase apparently they developed something of a backbone and actually pushing back offensively. So here's the only little bit that you need to know. Piece reads as follows. Crypto exchange Coinbase filed suit against the Securities and Exchange Commission on Monday, asking that the regulator be forced to publicly share its answer to a months-old petition on whether it would allow the crypto industry to be regulated using existing SEC frameworks. The July 2022 petition asked the SEC propose and adopt rules to govern the regulation of securities that are offered and traded via digitally native methods, end quote, referring to digital assets like cryptocurrencies. So I'll pause to note, what they're basically saying is, SEC, just do your damn job. And so this legal filing, the entire purpose of it was to have a judge force the SEC do what they are legally obligated to do. That's it. It's just saying you must do your job. That really is it in a nutshell. Piece continues. The SEC did not offer a specific public response to Coinbase's petition, but in recent months has aggressively ramped up enforcement actions and warnings against crypto exchanges, including Coinbase. And here's a quote from Coinbase's chief legal officer, Paul Graywell. He said, quote, "From the SEC's public statements and enforcement activity in the crypto industry, it seems like the SEC has already made up its mind to deny our petition, but they haven't told the public yet. So the action Coinbase filed today simply asks the court to ask the SEC to share its decision," end quote. So yeah, exactly. So like I said, the whole purpose of it was, hey, you little punk ass bitches at the SEC, do your damn job. That's it. That's pretty much it. And so now we have the latest story here. And technically this filing occurred on May 9th, but it wasn't until at some point in the afternoon or evening yesterday that the news really started heavily circulating, which is kind of commonplace. This happens with a lot of different lawsuits. In fact, if there weren't such a huge community, in the XRP community, if there were still an SEC v. Ripple lawsuit, if people weren't paying attention, it could be days or longer before the news of, Judge Torres's verdict, regarding summary judgment. It could be days or weeks before somebody even noticed if it weren't a big case. But it is a very big case. And so we're constantly checking. And there are lawyers, checking to see the most recent filings, just hitting refresh constantly. So we'll know when it happens. But for stuff like this, we don't always literally know right away. So here's a piece from Blockworks titled "Chamber of Commerce Backs Coinbase in SEC Fight with Scathing Amicus." So they did file an amicus brief. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce voiced its support for Coinbase in a new filing on Tuesday, May 9th. It said that by refusing to respond to Coinbase in its petition to get a clearer regulatory picture, the U.S. SEC is, quote, causing substantial economic harm to both Coinbase and the broader business community, end quote. And so the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, they have, members of all different industries, including the crypto industry. They're looking out for business first and foremost. So it is nice to see this. In hindsight, not that surprising. Would have been nice if they jumped in a little bit sooner in some capacity. And if they did, then I just am unaware of it. But either way, happy to see them here. Piece continues. In the amicus brief filed in the case of Coinbase v. SEC, the Chamber of Commerce said that it supports Coinbase as it seeks to get regulatory clarity on what a security is in the eyes of the SEC. An amicus brief is filed when a party has a strong interest in the case or the outcome of the case, according to Cornell's Legal Information Institute. And here's a quote from the brief. The Chamber's members have a strong interest in regulatory clarity, and many of its members are companies subject to U.S. securities laws that may be adversely affected by the Securities and Exchange Commission's current approach to digital assets, end quote. All right, so, of course, Kim Jong-Ginzer would tell you that, when it comes to rules and regulations, it's very, very clear. Isn't that what he says? That little lying prick. And so, basically what he's saying to you is, just don't believe your own lying eyes. Just don't believe it. And apparently all the rest of us out here that completely disagree with him, including entrepreneurs, investors, venture capitalists, so on and so forth, apparently we're all taking crazy pills. Kim Jong-Ginzer's right, and then every other human on the planet, which is most humans, it's that disagrees. We're all wrong? You don't see this in any other area. You don't see market participants in legacy finance. You could look at participants in investing in just even equities and in companies that want to launch IPOs. You don't see a wrench in the works. You don't see these bottlenecks. So is it really that all of these business entrepreneurs that entrepreneurs launching businesses, that they're all just skirting the system and they all have bad intent and they're seeking to do things illegal? Or might it rather be the case that Kim Jong-Ginzer is a son of a bitch? A or B, folks, you guys tell me. Piece continues. The Chamber of Commerce, founded in 1912, is the world's largest business organization and works on Capitol Hill to advocate for U.S. businesses. The Chamber of Commerce wrote that the SEC has shown that it has no interest in addressing Coinbase's concerns after Coinbase petitioned the commission last summer to give the digital asset sector a clearer idea of the regulatory approach. Now, here was a really cool breakdown on this from attorney James Murphy, who goes by Meta Lawman all up on the Twitters, and he wrote the following. Breaking, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce has just filed a brief in the Coinbase v. SEC case, calling out the SEC for acting unlawfully in the digital asset space. This is the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, not the Chamber of Digital Commerce. This is a big deal, and here's why. The U.S. Chamber is a highly influential organization representing companies in all industries across the United States, not just crypto. The brief opens with, quote, as it stands today, nobody knows for certain which digital assets, if any, are securities under federal law, end quote. Exactly. The Chamber makes three arguments. Number one, regulatory uncertainty is killing innovation in the U.S. Number two, the SEC is destabilizing the digital assets regulatory environment. Number three, the SEC is violating constitutional due process and fair notice rights. And the topper is, number 4, the chamber declares, quote, the SEC's actions are not just harmful policy, they are unlawful. And look at this screen grab from the amicus brief. He highlighted the portion in yellow here, which again reads literally as follows. The SEC's actions are not just harmful policy, they are unlawful. And the consequences of the SEC's continued delay are severe for that reason too. So it's not just us here in the XRP community, but I'll tell you what, bringing in the big guns here, right? It's not just we in the XRP community who are recognizing this now. It just took more participants in the space coming under fire for for entities like this to finally be like, oh yeah, I guess we should do something about that, huh? Well, thanks for getting off your lazy asses and doing something. Like, I do appreciate it. I'm glad, and they are right, and I will continue to be supportive. But sometimes I'm going to make a snide comment here and there because, damn it, where were you 2 years ago? You know what I'm saying? Come on. Anyway, Attorney Murphy continues. He says, bottom line, the court will give these arguments advanced by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce serious attention. And the largest, most influential business organization in the United States has just declared it stands with crypto. Isn't that fire? So it actually is a bigger deal than you might think on the surface. Especially when I first read the news, I was so in crypto mode, as I frequently, because like the reason I get on Twitter is to find out what's happening to crypto. That's why I exclusively, almost entirely exclusively actually, follow people in the XRP community and broadly in crypto. And so when this story first popped up, my brain didn't finish processing it, and I read U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and what my brain thought was Chamber of Digital Commerce. But then I was like, whoa, that's not what it says. It says the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. So that was fantastic. Now, Attorney John Deaton retweeted that thread, and Attorney Deaton wrote, XRP holders were the first to call out the gross overreach by the SEC, but clearly we aren't the last. Over 2 years ago, we said, don't be fooled that this will stop with XRP. Even when the government's gross overreach is against a project you dislike, you must stand against it. Spot on as always. In fact, I'm going to retweet that. I'd already hearted it. I'm retweeting it. And then there was this from Rep. Warren Davidson, sitting congressman. He retweeted Meta Lawman and wrote, America's fintech future is threatened by Gary Gensler's wrecking ball. I'm glad consensus is building. Congress must take action to provide legal clarity for digital assets and substantive reform to the SEC that eliminates the chairmanship and empowers the commission. You love to see this. I'm telling you, folks, fine, there's a gigantic and coordinated effort against us coming from the current administration, and they're getting as many government agencies that will align with them as possible on board to push in the same direction. But there's going to be a lot of pushing back. And the unelected bureaucrats are not always going to be there. Things won't always be like this. And what should be done shall be done in the end. I firmly believe that. But this fight's been going on for years, and it's going to continue going on for, I don't even know how many more years. Long, long time. I'm just thankful that, at least as an XRP holder, we're going to have our clarity sooner than later. And I extra am appreciative because XRP just happens to be my largest XRP. My largest crypto holding. But I was thinking about this earlier. It's like, there's over 20,000 freaking cryptocurrencies. And yes, the SEC had sued other coins, or I say sued other coins, but, sued particular participants related to those coins in some capacity, but effectively, they might as well be suing the actual investors. It's true. That's why I feel like as an XRP holder, XRP holders, we're all under attack here. But I was just thinking out of over 20,000 coins in existence, I just happen to have my largest holding in the one, it's XRP here, that became the center of the largest SEC litigation that's non-fraud since like 1946. What in the ever-loving hell? My freaking luck, right? Meta Lawman referred to Warren Davidson and said, yes, sir, I agree. I'm afraid that we cannot trust the SEC under current leadership to develop a set of fair and reasonable rules for the digital assets economy. We do need leadership from Congress. Spot on. So anyway, on the whole, look, this is very good news. Yes, we have got quite the battle ahead of us. But again, there's really good cause to be optimistic on a whole range of issues and for so many reasons. But I'll wrap up here. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.